Basketball. How do you think the new guys are coming along in preparation for Big 12 play?
We've had, I guess, 3 really good days of practice. We were off the day after we played, so that would have been Monday, and today was, day 3 of really good prep. I think we're trying to at least simulate. You guys saw with the music and the intensity of practice, trying to get them an idea of what it may be like. It's also the reason we scheduled the way we did so that this time of year, when they go into these environments, they're not seeing this type of atmosphere or animus from fans or anything like that for the first time.
With that crowd noise, how do you feel it changed the dynamic of your practice with some of the younger guys?
Oh man, some of them didn't handle it very well, and that's okay. That's why you do it today, and hopefully you have an opportunity tomorrow to come back and watch the film and figure out why, how, and what to do to make sure it's better. But we try to do everything we can to give our guys an opportunity to see what it's really like. Obviously, there wasn't any people in there, but the noise and at least gives them somewhat of a simulation of what to expect when they go on the road for what we think will be, a really competitive game against the reigning conference champion and defending national runner-up. I got a ton of respect for Coach Beard and what he's been able to do there and his staff, and obviously they got kids who bought into what they really are about, and it shows in the success that they've had.
Lindy said you'd use the crowd noise occasionally before, but was that the first time this year you'd use that?
It was the first time we've done it this year. We thought about doing it a couple times before, but you got to be kind of strategic in how you use your bullet, so to speak.
Is that just a recording from a game, or how did
I
that
have
come
no
together?
idea. I just sent out a message and said, hey, this is kind of what I need to happen, and I have a tremendous staff that figures out ways to get it done. So I won't take any credit. My staff, I don't know where they got it from or who did it, but I thought it was pretty good. I was actually ready to play.
Lindy said probably the closest thing that you guys have experienced to what the crowd will be like at Tech is Houston.
Mm-hmm.
How close, if at all, are those two things?
Probably, closest, I would say. Houston's got a much smaller place, but they were playing really well at the time, and their crowd was into it. So I expected to be similar, but on a much larger scale in terms of size, and even though they're on break just like we are from classes, they've got a pretty good thing going on. I would imagine that the entire city of Lubbock will be in the building, whoever can get their hands on tickets.
Now that the non-conference schedule is over, what are some key takeaways that you can take out from this team based off of the sample size you've seen?
I just think they've done a really good job of taking care of their business in the non-conference. Saved the Minnesota game. I thought we played with great purpose and intent, and put ourselves in position going to league play where we can feel good that, moving forward, that won't be a question about whether we challenge ourselves or if we played well against good competition. And now everybody starts 0-0, and that's what I told our team. The team that plays with the most consistency, the ability to move on to the next game, no matter how the last one goes, will find itself having more success over the next 2.5 months.
When I asked Lindy that same question, one of the first things that came out of his mouth was that basically like this team wins on its defense. How important is that message, not only coming from the coaching staff, but being able to come from one of your captains like that?
It's awesome. That means that's the conversation that's happening inside the locker room without the coaches. And those conversations are the most important conversations that happen within the team. A lot of times kids will try to do what their coaches tell them to do, but when their teammates can hold them accountable to it, it takes it to a whole nother level, gives it a whole different level of meaning. We talked about in our 4 games that we played without ice, the one game that we actually held an opponent, we played pretty good defense, under 60, we won. The other games, the other teams were averaging over 80, and we obviously didn't play as well. So I think they understand how important it is that we give ourselves a chance by playing consistent on the defensive end. And then we obviously at some point have to make shots, and I got confidence that we have the right guys out there that can do that.
Besides using the crowd noise, what are some other ways everyone, and especially the older guys, are kind of preparing the newcomers for Big 12 play?
I just think the intensity at which we compete with in practice, I think guys really get after each other. I think we try to put them in situations where there's adversity. We obviously played the last 4 minutes down 7. Didn't overcome it today, but it's just, again, those are things that are going to come up. And as many times as they can see it. A lot of times you can get better with repetition. And I expect us to handle it better tomorrow when we have an opportunity to do it again, and then hopefully, it carries over into a game on Saturday morning.
You guys have a good sample size from non-conference. So what kind of looks are Texas Tech giving you guys?
They're really, really physical defensively. They're pretty versatile. They don't necessarily play with a true big, which can present some challenges. But there's some things that maybe we could take advantage of in terms of rebounding and protecting the rim on defense. But Moretti kind of is the leader for him. He's a tremendous shooter, great competitor. Then they have one of the most unique players in the country, I think, in Chris Clark, a guy who starts at power forward but has 70-some-odd assists and 20-some-odd turnovers, which is unusual for a guy playing that position. And when he rebounds it, he's basically their point guard. So it gives us a different look in that regard, but they're really, really versatile defensively, and they can switch 1 through 5 and really be able to guard you.
I'm sure you've seen Ramsey some on the recruiting trail last year. Just what have you thought of his start to his college career?
Yeah, he's terrific. I mean, he is physically ready to go play at the next level, I think. Obviously, he's probably got some maturing to do, some growing up to do. He's dealt with some injuries, but a tremendous scorer. He plays with an aggressive mindset. He's probably one of the most competitive kids that I've ever evaluated, and that's a credit to whoever coached him and developed him. So he'll present some great challenges. At the same time, it'll be his first Big 12 game, too, so we'll see.
Have you ever been a part of anything like what Lindy was able to do at the end of the game down in Lubbock last year?
Not when the guy was playing for me. Okay. I told you guys I coached against Steph Curry. That's the closest I've actually seen. I'm not saying Lindy Steph by any means, but I've never coached a guy who got going from 3 that well. I coached a kid named Dylan Downey, who was a tremendous scorer. He did a lot of his work at the rim and in the mid-range, but to see, especially, we needed all of them just to give ourselves a chance to get to overtime. And talk about taking big shots and not playing afraid of the moment. It was pretty impressive.
He said there was no shot anybody else was going to take the last shot of the game after the streak he was beyond. What is your message in timeouts whenever a guy's that high? You just give it to him? And
yeah, I don't think we ran any offense in the last 4 minutes of the game. I don't even know what we called it, but I was literally just pointing guys out of his way and telling him that when you see the rim, shoot the ball, and he did, and it went in, and I looked like a pretty good coach for a couple minutes.
Coach, is there any update on Marcus Watson?
Not at the moment. Obviously, still not with us. Still kind of waiting the process on campus to see how that finalizes, and when we have something more, we'll share it.
Did you get out to Cade's game, or were you just watching on stream?
No, I was not there. Cannon was, but I watched it all on the little link that was available.
Have you seen a high school team as good as that? There was the number 1 versus number 4, and it wasn't even almost close.
Man, I gotta be careful. There's a few other guys that aren't seniors or haven't signed that we're still recruiting. But man, they're an impressive group. They played against another young man on the other team who's a pretty good player also, and I saw him play last week at the City of Palms, and they played another team who's supposed to be really good also, and they haven't had a competitive game yet. Eventually, I think they will, but they go through their first 6 guys, and they're all like going to real high-level college programs like next year. So it's pretty impressive what Coach Boyle and his staff has done down there at Montford.
He's usually not overly flashy. He's kind of like Isaac in some ways. What'd you think of the dunk that made his rounds?
Yeah, I've seen that kid do so many things over the last 3 years that nothing really surprises me. But it almost seems like every time he plays with more confidence that he can do something even better. This is a testament to his work ethic, to his coaches, to guys who will help him develop him. And obviously, we're fortunate that he's going to be coming to play for our program.
How good is that for the program whenever he's on ESPN or something like that, and they're saying Oklahoma State signing Cade Cunningham and all that?
I think it's really good. I think it's important that we understand how important it is, the opportunity that he's created for the rest of our program moving forward, is that you can be the best player in the country, and I believe he's the best player in the country. And Oklahoma State's a place you can go to and have success. And I think he sends that message to other kids, and will give us an opportunity to continue to knock on doors that maybe people think we shouldn't.